Chasing Giants with Don Higgins and Terry Peer. Brought to you by Osseo Camo, nature's most lethal camouflage. Follow along as Don and Terry discuss the techniques, strategies, and dedication needed to harvest one of God's most amazing creations, world-class whitetails.
Well, welcome everyone to the Chasing Giants podcast, episode 216. The long-awaited Don Higgins turkey hunting in Kentucky episode is finally here. I can't wait to talk about this, but we're going to save that for a little bit later. But you killed a turkey today.
I did. Within the first hour of my turkey hunting career, I killed a gobbler with a double beard.
So if you wanted to be like all the other famous Instagram influencers, you claim that you are now a turkey expert.
I am.
You can now give everyone advice on how to kill turkeys and set up properties. Mm-hmm. So is there a new arm of Higgins Outdoors doing turkey consultations now that you've killed your first bird?
Well, I'm only an expert on social media, Terry. Not in real life, only on social media.
Well, we're going to talk about this hunt a little bit later and the video footage of it and the whole day in general. But I want to first start out this episode by thanking our host, Brandon Epperson, Homegrown Outdoors. He is not only a coworker, but a good friend of both of ours for a long time. And he doesn't know this, but I'm going to have him go ahead and come up here. I want to ask him a couple questions on camera. I'm sure he was back putting his powder on his forehead so there wouldn't be any glare with these spotlights. But he's about 3 years ago, he built this beautiful barn dominium. He had a fish fry tonight for all of us. Had us and a bunch of friends over. So, Brandon, thank you for having us, boss, and thanks for cooking the fish.
Yeah, absolutely, guys. You guys can come out and spend the night together.
Well, I wanna first talk about something that was pretty big in your hunting career this year, and we are on a property that you killed an absolute mega giant on, and we talked about it on the podcast. We actually showed a picture of it, but since we're sitting here on that property, tell us a little bit about this hunt and what's happened since you actually killed it, because there's been some additional chapters to the story.
I watched him and got some pictures this summer and was kind of amazed by him, and at first didn't think he was going to be a shooter, which is kind of crazy looking back at now. The deer goes 200 inches and didn't think he was a shooter, but he just continually blew up, and then finally I just told Don, I was like, yeah, I think I'm going to shoot this deer.
So I actually went with you opening morning to try to film it. We didn't see him that morning, but then you saw him that afternoon. So this is opening weekend of September archery season. I forget what day it opened, the second or third maybe this year?
Yeah, I believe it was the third, maybe the second, but it was about 95 degrees. I do know that.
Yeah, Saturday morning I was over here, and then we didn't see him, and then you went back out in the afternoon and actually saw him midday.
Yeah, I got in the stand about 11:30.
95 degrees.
95 degrees, and 1:30 he popped out at about 21 yards, and I didn't get a shot. So I was pretty devastated, but hung in there and set the rest of the day. He came back at 6:30 and didn't get another shot again. So
2 times in a row. Then Sunday, tell us what happened Sunday. Walk us through that a little bit.
Sunday I did not hunt in the morning, but I did wake up and have my buddy drive me in on the side-by-side again like I did the day before, and got in about 10:30. And sure enough, he came in about 2:30, 3 o'clock, and I was able to shoot him about 6 yards. So
there was a lot of we just joked about social media experts, but for the people that saw the picture of this deer, there is no angle. Don and I talked about this. There's some bucks that there's just no angle that you can get everything. And this buck, if I have time in post-production, I'll put a picture of it up on the screen right now. But this buck, no matter what angle you looked at it, it didn't look that big. I mean, it is what it is. And you got a lot of raunchy people on social media, but I was here measuring it, and this non-typical buck, there's 30 ways to probably measure it.
Yeah,
but tell us a little bit about what happened in the contest you were in.
Yeah, so we were in the quest hunt competition, me and my buddy Chris, this year, and I shot that deer, and we had everybody over here scoring that thing. We got on the phone with Boone and Crockett Scores. We were on FaceTime. There's just so many different points going every which different direction, and I just couldn't believe it when the score just kept tallying up. And it's like you said, social media, they're like, there's no way. And I'm like, I don't know what to tell you, but it was a big deer to me. And it was one of those few deer that you shoot and you get up on it, and it's bigger once you get up on it than what you thought when you pulled the trigger, just because you just couldn't see everything.
You've had a couple of those too, Don, haven't you?
Yeah, it's rare, but it does happen. And, I'm sitting here in Brandon's house and looking around, and he's killed a lot of nice deer. Hopefully we can get some footage of this worked into this podcast. But yeah. Brandon's no stranger to big deer, but this one here was pretty special, huh? So
now that all of us sitting with it on the back of the side-by-side the night that you shot it, scoring it 15 different ways, and you'll admit, all of us here, when we added it up, there was probably about a 12-inch variance in what we were scoring it, depending on what we considered tine versus because of the webbing of the velvet. What did he finally officially score in the competition? And you had to take a lie detector test. I mean, this was a crazy experience.
It's quite the experience you get in this competition, but it was a lot of fun. It was a lot of good opportunity to see deer from all over the country in one spot when we went out to the banquet. But, the Buckmaster score came right at 203, and the Pope and Young scored it at 202 and an eighth, I believe. So at the end of the day, it came down to really close.
Yep. So, well, congratulations on the buck. Thank you for having us tonight. Thanks for cooking for us, having some of your buddies come over. But great deer, and you hunted out in Illinois with us this last year. You got hunting in Ohio, I think, coming up this year too. So I'm sure there's another giant in your future.
Yeah, I don't know if I'll ever kill another 200-inch deer in Kentucky, but we're going to give it a shot.
All right. Well, thanks for being on.
Congratulations, Brandon. Thank you.
Well, Don, let's talk a little bit about this turkey hunting experience that you had today. Mm-hmm. And I'm actually gonna have Al come up a little bit later, but everybody wants to know. The social media blew up today when you posted that picture. Now you're gonna be hooked. Walk us through, because the sun came up and the birds. Today was the perfect weather. It's been rainy and nasty for 6-7 days. The sun came out and the temperature went up today. There was a lot of birds killed. Is that the first time you've been in a turkey blind or out when there was that much hammering and gobbling?
Oh, no doubt. I mean, we was hearing those birds gobbling before it was even daylight. I mean, we was setting up the blind and they were gobbling all around us. I would just guess that we probably heard 200 gobbles today.
I don't know.
At least. And then had birds all around us. I don't know how many gobblers we've seen, but probably at least 8 or 10. I don't know. There was 4 at one time. A couple times 2 came in.
So we set up a blind this last week. I set up a hay bale blind on the edge of alfalfa, and today we took in, because Steve Shields came down to video it, so we had 4 people to get in a blind. So we put a pop-up tent blind beside the hay bale blind so you all could all say, and I was up in a 360, kind of watching out and trying to get a different camera angle. But did your heart rate even get up when that tom came out? Because it actually circled around the back of the 360 and came out right in front of you when you first saw him. Did your heart rate at least get up a little bit?
Maybe just a little bit.
Yeah. Nothing like a 200-inch deer then?
Nothing like a 200-inch deer, but yeah, it was fun. The experience meant more to me than the turkey, just getting to spend time with good friends. Here I am at Dry Ridge, Kentucky, your hometown. I've got a lot of friends in this area that I've made over the years, and just getting to spend a couple days down here with everybody, I mean, that means as much to me as the turkey does. But I'll definitely be going turkey hunting again. Now, I'm not going to travel all over the country like some people do, trying to get the Grand Slam or the Super Slam of turkeys or whatever. But I'll definitely go again. And, I'm starting to see some turkeys on my home farm. So now that I've got my first turkey under my belt, my next goal is to kill a turkey on my home farm, because they just haven't been there until actually the last 2 springs. And even last spring, they didn't really stick around. Once summer rolled around, we didn't see them anymore. but they're back, and we're seeing them again this year. In fact, when Al and Joe Johnson and I left my place yesterday, there was a turkey in the road, and we thought that was a good sign.
That's a good
sign.
Pulled
out of my driveway, and right there by my property is a turkey. So,
all right. Well, we're going to finish talking about this just right after a spot from our friends at Osseo, and while we're doing that, Al Foster is going to come up here and talk with us a little bit.
Osseo Gear has perfected one of the most innovative camo patterns on the market. The unique camo pattern designed to mimic the feather patterns of one of North America's greatest predators, the great horned owl. Combined with intuitive features, superior comfort, and ultra high quality fabrics give bow hunters the ultimate advantage. Osseo has outfitted over 10,000 bow hunters across the country with over 1,000 5-star reviews. Visit asiogear.com to check it out for yourself. Use code CHASINGGIANTS for 15% off.
Well, welcome to Chasing Giants there, Al. Put that microphone right up there in front of your mouth.
Where is it?
Yeah, there you go. Just bend it up there. Al Foster, you haven't been on camera since the Legends Roundtable in Shipshewana. Before we dive into turkey hunting, why don't you talk real quick about what that experience was like? Because you were completely out of your comfort zone with that, not only up on stage, but also getting to mingle with that many people.
Shipshewana was really special. And like I said, I had no idea what to expect. I've never been around anything like that. But I think what I took away from it more than anything else is I've never been around the Amish people very much. And Shipshewana was probably 85% Amish. And I don't know, they said maybe 10,000 people there over that weekend and 2,500 at the show where we were at. But what I took away the most was that weekend, all the people that came up and how nice they were to me and how well they treated me. But I never heard a curse word, and I never saw an argument all weekend. And it's like, that was just kind of a wow factor to me this day and age. And I had young Amish boys come up and having me sign recurves, and they're telling me thank you to sign their recurves. And it's like, guys, thank you for letting me sign your recurve. That was so cool to see young men like that, you know, instead of worrying about the really, really good technology bows and everything else out there. They were trying to get back to the grassroots. And that's what I took away from it, was just how nice the people were and the enthusiasm for the whole thing. And it was pretty special. It's not, like I said, it's way out of my comfort zone. I was a rider way back in the day. I'm kind of it's Don, I'm small circle, lots of friends, but a real small circle, and my life's pretty simple, and I try to kind of avoid big crowds for the most part. But that one there was worth going to. It couldn't have been any better. And I thank everybody for letting me participate in that. And the only bad thing I can say about it was I wish we'd had about 2 or 3 more hours to talk, because we were just getting their foot in the door with the really good stuff, and there just wasn't long enough. But it was great.
I got a feeling that we're going to have another opportunity to finish that event up there. Don, before we talk about turkey hunting again, the one thing I noticed at that show was how many people were carrying around recurves. Did you notice that? There was a lot of people carrying around traditional archery equipment at that. I don't know if they had a event there or they were shooting there or what, but between Al and Bobby Worthington, there was a lot of people coming up with traditional archery.
Yeah, I seen that. I don't know what the reason was, but it's something I like to see. Like Al said, the thing that I have really appreciated about Al over the years is that whenever I was young and first met Al, he was always preaching ethics, hunting ethics. And when you see a guy that could legally use a crossbow or a compound, and he chooses to use a recurve, and that says a lot about what's in that guy's heart.
Yep.
As a deer hunter, and he's not trying to make it easy. He's accepting the challenge and meeting it head on.
Well, Al, you've hunted all over the Midwest for turkeys. You've been to multiple states hunting turkeys. What does Kentucky, Dry Ridge, Kentucky on the Pier Farm stack up to as far as turkey action? Because I complain day in and day out on this podcast that turkeys are the spawn of Satan and they're varmints. But how you like hunting turkeys on my place?
When you hunt turkeys at Terry's place, you know, there's so many different ways to hunt turkey, so many different places. And, I mean, turkeys, they'll beat you up and everything else. And Terry's place is where you get well. You know, if you've been beat up and you've had it handed to you just like turkeys can do, and you can go to Terry's place, that's where you get even, you know. And it's fun. And all the gobbling and, well, the camaraderie, I mean, the clowns I'm with all day long, I mean, it's fun. We're here all weekend, and it's just been great. And it's lots of birds, target-rich environment, but they're still turkeys, and we made mistakes today, and they made us pay for it, but we kind of got even a couple times too. So, and
you mean it's not always as easy as what I seen this morning?
I wouldn't call our hunt today was easy. I would not say our hunt was easy by any means. I mean, we had
a lot of birds, but we had to work for them.
We were in the wrong. We were set up a little bit wrong and couldn't take advantage of it. But that's when you haven't been there and you walk in. I mean, it's your short order of time, but that's how you learn. But yeah, I wouldn't call it an easy hunt. But it was just a fun hunt because there was birds there all the time, and
How many toms would you say you think were gobbling before they came down off the roost today?
It's hard to tell, but I mean, when you're sitting in a ground blind, and I don't sit in ground blinds a lot, when you're sitting in those blinds, your hearing's muffled. It's hard, and I'm older, so my 40 years in the factory, it's not like I hear real great anyway. But I know that we had to be hearing 8 to 12 birds, I would say, and hens. The hens were talking. That was fun too, and
that's what I liked about today. The hens were really, really vocal.
It's fun to go back and forth with the hens, to get a hen yapping at you and working the hens. That's fun. It's all fun.
We got to see a bearded hen today. I don't know how many of us actually got to see it, but we got good footage of that. But yeah, you talk a little bit about the bird you shot. I didn't ask Don. Did you all end up weighing it when you got it back out? Or?
Yeah, it was right around 19 pounds.
Yep.
I think it was bigger than that, but you know, scale's always right. It was a big bird. We haven't measured the beard of the spurs yet, but it's got probably 11-inch beard, and it's got inch plus spurs. So it was, you know, a good strong adult bird. But that fun part of that was that was later. I shot the bird a little bit after 1 o'clock, and they probably started. There was a pair of them. They started gobbling around 11. And they were a long way off, and it was just one of those you just keep every 15, 20 minutes keep hitting them, and they gobble back every time, and pretty soon it's like I think they're a little bit closer, and yeah, they're closer, and it was just a real slow process, but kind of had a pretty good idea where they were going to show up. And we're sitting there, it's 1 o'clock, and Steve's, birds. It's like, all right, where are they at, Steve? And they popped up right in front of him, you know, out there, well, probably 70 yards when they first popped up, and he wasn't ready for that. That was a cool moment, and I'll remember that, and that line will get used again. You know, I guarantee it. But once they showed up, then you know, it was just letting them work into range and taking the shot.
My favorite part of today was Don shot his bird first, and Steve had to make a quick run back to the truck, which was about 650 yards away, and come back, and we wanted to film the recovery of Don's bird and get some pictures. And Al was just chomping at it. We got to hunt, boys. Come on. We got to hunt. What are we doing here? We can take pictures later. We got to hunt. What are we doing?
Well, you know, when you got a day and a half to hunt, I'm a hunter, you know, and it's like, and they're gobbling. It's like, you know, I am what I am. It's like, let's get with it, guys. Let's get back in the blind, get her done. I want Joey to get a bird.
Yeah. So we're going to hit it again tomorrow and Monday, even if we have to. But yeah, 2 birds today. It was a good day, perfect weather. But yeah, I agree with you. It wasn't the normal just stampede. You had to call a lot. You had to work for them, and you guys had to make some tough shots. You were spun around backwards in the blind with hanging out the side to make your shot, and but congratulations. We loved having you here. I'm glad we've made this a yearly event for us all to do again.
Oh, my pleasure, and thank you. You know, it's just pure fun, something you look forward to.
All right. So. All right, well, we won't make you stay up here and suffer through this anymore. So there is one other famous person in the room tonight, and there's about 3 people cringing.
We're going to call a bunch of people up
right
here
now.
before we're done.
But there is one young gentleman here that holds a record on the Chasing Giants podcast. Do you know who that is? I think Robbie Kohler has now had 12 questions answered on the podcast. I don't know. I don't know if it's that many, but we've answered a whole lot of questions. So
absolutely,
you better have a really good question for Don, and we'll let you come up here and make the appearance on the podcast to start our first listener submitted question. You do not get a T-shirt for tonight because you get to be on TV.
Well, I got 3 of them already, so I think I'm pretty good.
All right, so we warned you that you had to come up with a question. We did not warn you that you would be on camera tonight. So congratulations.
Well, I appreciate it. So definitely probably don't deserve to be here with everybody, but I sure do appreciate it.
Well, you got a brain buster for Don here tonight?
No, not really. I didn't even think about the question. I wasn't planning on being up here. My biggest problem is when I'm hunting out there, I got 2 jobs, and I think about work when I'm deer hunting, and I got a lot of stress that goes on. How do you enjoy your hunt, basically, without letting the stress ruin your hunt?
Well, that's a great question because I can definitely relate. Back when I had my tree business, we would get really busy about the 1st of November every year digging trees. You had to let the trees go dormant before you could dig them, so that would be about the 1st of November. And if I would go work in the tree nursery, digging trees, whatever, I'd always wish I was out sitting in a deer stand. And if I went deer hunting, sitting in a deer stand, I'd always think I should be back working. So I get that balance, and I wish I had a good answer for you because I never did figure it out. I ended up selling the tree business and doing something else. So maybe you need to get a different job.
Become a Democrat, you think?
I don't think that's the answer for anything, to be a Democrat. Although if you did, you would have a lot more free time and free money.
Well, that's what I need.
Yeah. Well, I can tell you, we were talking a little bit earlier. You did not go turkey hunting because your son had opening day of Little League. Is it T-ball or coach pitch?
Well, it's coach pitch.
Okay, and he got to be in the opening day parade. So I think that you did exactly what you should have done today.
Yeah, it was definitely tough.
There'll be a lot more opening days, but the times watching your kids and spending time with them is going to be few and far between as it gets further along.
Oh, yeah. He's definitely that age now where he's enjoying sports, but he's ready to go hunting too, I think.
Yeah.
Well, I definitely got to respect the choice you made this morning. You made the right one.
Well, I appreciate it. It was definitely tough. It's probably one of the first, opening mornings to miss, but
yeah,
you got to do what you got to do.
Absolutely.
Well, thanks for being on the show. I appreciate it.
Well, thank you. I appreciate it.
Keep sending them questions in. You never know. We might give you another T-shirt.
Well, I might have to do that then. Thank you.
Yep.
We're gonna really get froggy here, and Steve Shields just checked the camera, and I'm gonna put him down in the seat. He's actually gonna get in front of the camera this time. Yeah, you are. Don't shake your head at me, no. You were in the blind the entire day. This is awkward for you, isn't it? Introduce your lovely wife and daughter. They came down to support you tonight. Actually, why don't you two run over here and get behind him for a little? Yeah, come on. Do a little Snapchat thingy. Well, it's not Snapchat, but
this is the Shields family.
This is the better two halves of.
Yeah,
absolutely.
See, you got to smile and wave to the camera. I don't know if you're. See, you made it.
Yeah, that's what I said. Definitely the better halves.
Well, thank you all for coming down and visiting us. They've heard all about all of these names in the room, and they finally got to come down and spend time. So, Steve, you didn't know I was going to do this tonight, but everybody, we talk about you all the time, and you're going to be very bashful about this, but when I say the best in the business, I truly mean that. From a skill set, you get to talking about technology and cameras, and it might as well be Japanese to me, and I just say, I don't know, and you laugh at me. But something happened today that even happened to the best of the business, and if it's all right, I want to talk about that because that's feedback for all of these people watching the show right now that are getting into filming their hunts or trying to film their hunts. and you have probably the most expensive equipment that money can buy, and there was still a problem today. Talk about it. How did you handle it? And at the end of the day, what does it really mean?
Well, thanks for putting me on the spot. Appreciate all that.
I told you we were going to wing it today.
I guess that's not what I expected. Yeah, so today during the turkey hunt, we got in the blind when it was dark, right? So setup was last night when I was in the house. We stayed at a B&B, which was awesome. And got everything set up. Everything was working fine. Got into the blind, dark, so too dark to film, but still checked everything out. Everything was working great. Birds started coming in, filming the birds, no problem. In fact, long run time, I think one video clip's like 8 minutes. Everything was great. A lot of hens, a lot of jakes. Then gobbler, Tom comes around, circles around the blind. Don gets his gun up. I've got the second angles ready to go. I got my main camera. Got a big 600 lens on it. I'm out there. Everything looks great. And just as the bird comes out to clear the corn where he came from, camera shuts off. And now I've got Joe.
Because we were going after a double. There was two toms here.
Yeah.
So all of these moving pieces are going on in the blind. You know, I'm up in a 360 trying to get a secondary angle, but just the commotion going on in the blind, counting down to shoot at the same time while you're making sure everything's in frame.
Yeah.
Just all of that. It's not easy.
Well, didn't you think Joe shot first?
I actually thought Joe shot, yeah.
Yeah. So when that bird came out, Don, you got your gun up. Mm-hmm. And Joe and Al are in a different blind, and they're telling Don, shoot. Well, was it kill it? I think it was kill it.
So the two blinds were connected, and we had it open, so it basically made one big long blind. Yeah.
And it was a far way out there, and so they're saying kill it, and I'm in the blind with Don, and I'm like, hold on. I'm trying to get the camera to reboot, do something. I'm in just, scramble mode at that point. I'm like, something please work. And finally they're yelling kill it, and Don's like, are you good? And I'm like, no man, just kill it. Boom. So 62 yards
and it
later,
was not a hesitation when he said that.
No, and then I think he went to the truck right away and started sleeping. I'm not sure, but at that point I'm begging that the camera at least captured something.
Yeah.
And it actually didn't. And I actually troubleshot it later on, and it was basically a dummy battery that had went bad because I'm trying to run my cameras off of a big external battery.
Right.
And, it's so frustrating. This has happened to me before. It really has. Things like this will happen when you're in this business. And the thing is, you got to work with good people that understand. I know a lot of camera guys who have made those mistakes, and they didn't have a job the next day. So luckily, this was just a turkey hunt, and we got a lot of great B-roll footage. We got a lot of good stuff later on. We've got kills, and we can make a really great story out of it. And you got to improvise, man. You got to do the best you can. I mean, other than having two cameras in there, and sometimes equipment just malfunctions. And you said it, my equipment's not old. It's very expensive. All of it's top notch, but things just go wrong.
I think that's part of it is I think that the average person wanting to just capture the memory sometimes probably just gets a little bit too far gone with worrying about it. And I appreciated today. You tried. At the end of it, kill the bird, Don, because that's what was on the line here was Don's first bird. Yeah. We're not going after the Yeti Film Festival with this turkey hunt by any means. But that's what I appreciated most is you had the priority of, honestly, I know it kills you that you want to put that story together as the creative person that you are. But at the end of the day, always have your priority where it needs to be. If you get it, you get it. Yeah. But we've talked a lot about projects that we're working on right now, and the pressure of video production and footage has put a lot of people in really bad places in this industry, and just enjoy it. Take it for what it is.
Yeah, as a guy who does this for a living, you pride yourself on capturing those moments, right? And you take them for granted sometimes. Like it was no big deal until you miss, and it's almost like a humbling moment at that point too. You're kind of like, things can't go wrong that you can't control. We're dealing with electronics and things just go wrong. They do. Now, I don't know if I'm going to get fired from this, but I'll probably get a lesson on how to use the auto button and autofocus, probably, I'm thinking. But it's just, that's why I love staying with Don. That's why I've been with him for so long with both you guys, because it means a lot to me that you value what I do, but you understand that things go wrong, you know.
I think that go ahead, Don.
I'm sure that it bothers Steve more than it does me that you didn't get that footage. And
tears me up.
You know what? If it would affect our friendship in any way whatsoever, I wouldn't be much of a friend. So don't feel bad whatsoever. I know you do your best, and you're the best in the business. So
I appreciate that.
Things like that happen. If it was a 200-inch buck, that may be a different story. I'm just kidding.
I think it would, at the end of the day, it'd be the same conversation if it was a 200-inch buck.
Absolutely.
I'd probably be in tears up here at that point. I promise you that.
But I got a text message from Steve afterwards saying, "Please tell me you got that on film." Please.
Yeah, you
tell
were
me.
my backup plan, and unfortunately, it happened kind of behind you. Like,
yeah,
I
I got great footage of Don and Joe hanging out the window shooting, but I do not have,
which makes sense.
I don't have that. But so your first experience turkey hunting on my farm, what did you think, man?
Yeah, that's probably the thing I'd like to say the most. I mean, I've been on a ton of turkey hunts, filming and hunting like Al. I mean, that was insane this morning, dude, when one bird would fire and then boom, 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 boom. I mean, there's 8, 9, 10 birds. It was so overwhelming. You didn't even know where they were coming from. It was like, like Al had mentioned, you're in the blind, and so you can't really tell where all the sound is coming from. But the hair stood up on my arms. I'm like, this is going down. Something is happening, and we're about to be in the middle of it. And man, there were birds everywhere. It was crazy.
I think we were in the blind right at 10 hours today, and it really didn't feel like that long. Even though I did lay down on the floor of the 360 and take an hour nap, and Don went to the truck and took a nap. But you all stayed with it and out hunting all day.
Yeah, it was awesome, man. I mean, even just the setting is it's just beautiful there. I mean, the whole setting, getting back to it, secluded, the hills. I mean, you got the birds gobbling and maybe in different hollers or whatever, but it's just echoing through there. It's awesome, man. I appreciate you having me.
Well, you do a fantastic job, and we don't thank you enough. And I'm sitting here looking at your wife, and your daughter just walked out to go do a Snapchat probably. But I know how proud they are of you also.
I appreciate that. Thank you very much.
They drove all the way down here. But thanks for always having our back and making us look better than what we are.
Always. You guys make it easy.
Yeah, he's even volunteered to stay up all night and edit the podcast tonight.
No, he didn't.
All right, buddy. Thank you.
Thanks,
Thank
buddy.
you, Steve.
Thank you.
Much appreciated.
Yeah, this is kind of fun because we're just randomly putting people on,
and people don't know if they're going to get their name called. You can just look out there. And you can see the nervousness.
We got
some
people cringing, and Austin
Please
is
don't
about
call me
ready to
next.
have a panic attack in the back. If Austin Razor's here, and if we call his name, he is going the other direction and getting in his truck and driving to Ohio. I guarantee you that.
He's not coming up?
Huh?
Austin's not coming up?
There,
We got lots to talk about, Austin.
Talk a little bit about Austin is on his way to your place to do work on Monday. So let's take a break from the questions here. Why don't we talk about what the plan is for your property on Monday? That'd be a good thing to fill some time here.
Well, actually, Austin's going to be spending most of the time working on my new 98-acre property. I've got some TSI work to do. When we do the TSI on just a certain section of the timber, we're going to clear a path around the edge of that for the bucks to travel the downwind edge, no matter which way the wind's blowing. We're going to put in at least one, maybe 2 creek crossings, plant about 20 apple trees on that property. Totally new plan. Those folks who have seen the plan on the Whitetail Master Academy, plans have changed again due to circumstances beyond my control. But we'll probably, next time Steve's at my house, we'll do a new video on the 98, and I'll get some video footage this week of Austin doing his thing. And I might have to hide the camera to get him on camera, but he's probably more camera shy than anybody in this room. But if I can do it, you can do it, Austin. But anyway,
you just listed those projects. What's he going to do the second half of Monday?
if he I know how fast he gets projects done, but I feel pretty confident that if the weather stays nice, we got at least 3 days of work.
Austin, obviously you don't have to get on camera, but I don't want to say this wrong. You sent me a text the other day on a TSI project. You cut how many acres of woods in what time? So 5 acres of TSI in 8 hours. But how many miles did you walk in that? What did somebody called him who called him a chainsaw ninja or something?
Wes Delks.
Wes called him a chainsaw ninja. He had just gotten up doing. You did quite a bit of work on Wes's farm, didn't you? Yeah. So that's happening next week. How many apple trees did you say you're all planting?
Only about 20 or so.
Okay. All right. Well, speaking of walking miles, there's a story that we wanted to talk about, and I'm going to ask Joe Johnson to come up here because he told us a stat this week.
Unbelievable.
While he's doing that, we're probably going to change a battery or something. It's been out since then? Oh, okay.
Do we need to redo it?
But how ironic is the guy talking about the camera failure spiel with a camera failure?
That's correct.
Hey, we got the audio. So I need like a high school senior picture with him in front of like a 1984 graduation year with a class ring and a mullet. And jorts. So we will put that up as at the part while he's talking. Yeah. Are we good to go now? Okay. Well, that was fun. The whole part about Steve talking about camera failure, we lose a battery on the camera. Well, Don, I want you to talk a little bit with Joe about shed season because he told us a pretty amazing stat yesterday evening.
Yeah, I did. So whenever Joe came to my house yesterday to drive here to Kentucky, he showed me a couple of nice sets of antlers that he's found this year. It's been a little bit of an off year, Joe. You want to talk about why you think it's been a slow year for shed antlers?
Yeah, we here in Illinois where we live, we just didn't have any winter to speak of this year. We had about 5 days that were 10 degrees, and deer kind of come together during that period, and thought it was going to be real decent. But the next week it started being 60 degrees, and then we just was in a roller coaster from 40s to 60s to 70s, and just deer started you'd find them in one hedgerow, which is miles apart in our country, and
it didn't stack them into a food source like it normally does.
It didn't this year. But the ones that did find were ones I'd been watching and knew some history of them, and was a good.
Well, you told us a stat yesterday about how many miles you've walked. What was that?
Yeah. On January 24th, I went to my phone service, and they put an app on my phone for walking, and that was January 24th. And as of, a week or so ago, I totaled it all up, and I was over 400 miles of walking. So per antler shed, I don't know, I'm 5 miles per antler shed maybe. So I do, and I enjoy the walking aspect of it, and then health-wise.
So just for reference, Joe, Don's house is 217 miles from here. You would have walked from where we're at right now all the way to Don's house and back.
Yeah.
That's insane.
Well, that's what I told my wife the other day, that I could have walked to our daughter's house, and she lives right outside of Nashville, Tennessee, which is probably only 350 miles, but it would have took me 6 months to get there, but
I don't want to walk to the end of the driveway.
I was going to say, have you ever walked 400 miles, Terry?
I can't.
Maybe in the last 10 years, I walked 400 miles.
I can tell you that the year after my wife had cancer, there was one of those cancer walks that was an all-night thing at the high school track, a fundraiser, and I said I was going to raise money for the fundraiser in honor of her fight. I was going to rock 100 laps on the track, and it took me all night. So that would have been 25 miles that night, and I couldn't move for 3 days. That was the end of my walking career.
And Joe does that every day.
And
you know, and
we have e-bikes now.
I'll put this in perspective. I'd walked all them miles, and we happened to be down at Don's house a few weeks back, and Al was with us, and we start driving out of the driveway, and I pull onto the road, and Al's going, "Stop, Joe, stop. Back up, back up." What? He goes, "There's something out there." And just right across from Don's house, we look in a waterway, and there's
shed laying there?
There's a shed laying there, and so I backed up and got binoculars, and sure enough, it's out there. And so Al's walking across, and before he gets over to the one that I sees there, he bends down in the waterway, and I thought, he's found a matching set. Well, he gets back to the truck, and they're two opposite. He goes, "Well, I thought there was another one out there, but," he said, "I wanted to make sure before I went out there." So, you know, I can walk 400 miles, and then all I got to do is drive down the road.
Drive down the truck.
You know, I'll find them. So
I'm just curious, out in that big ag country where you're at, how much do you rely on your binoculars?
Oh, they're the biggest help that I have. You know,
instead of walking clear out over to a field, you just glass them and see what they are before you waste the time to go over there.
For, you know, especially our bean stubble fields. They're, you know, in early wheat fields, if they haven't got any much growth in them, they're excellent. Or, you know, clover fields, anything that you can glass.
Yeah. So. All right. Well, thanks for being put on the spot.
You ain't going to ask me about my turkey hunt today?
No. If you want to talk about your turkey hunt, you can, but
you
got a big day ahead. That's all I care about. You got a big day ahead tomorrow.
I had an awesome day. This was just right up there with the rest of them.
Yeah?
I mean, sure do appreciate the hospitality you always give us. It's just one great time down here. You know, everything, and the turkeys were – I just wanted to let them get a little bigger today.
Is that what it was?
So I helped them to grow. So we'll leave it
for the good of the herd, or I guess in this case the flock. Is it the flock with the turkeys?
So hopefully tomorrow they will have been grown a little bigger. And
well, we always talk about the ethics and values that Al always hunted with. I think it's pretty stand-up of you to make sure you give everything a warning shot before you shoot him the next day.
Yeah.
You let him know what's coming. You give him warning.
Sometimes it's even multiple warning shots. Right? You know, it was the whole atmosphere today, the hearing of the turkeys, the camaraderie of being together with everybody, it made the turkey hunt special today.
Good time.
Absolutely.
Hopefully another one tomorrow too.
Amen.
Yep.
All right.
Hey, we're running out of people to call, but I think I can throw a curveball to the audience.
All right, let's go for it.
There's a young lady out here that's a track star that maybe she needs to come up here and put this headset on. She had a pretty special day today.
Oh, you got to let Steve make sure he's not having a camera failure
let's make
here.
Sure the camera's working.
Young Miss Shields, you're getting called to duty here. It was a big day for you today. You got to put that on. So did you walk 400 miles to beat Joe today?
Did I what?
Did you walk 400 miles to beat Joe? He just said he walked over 400 miles. You didn't do that today, did you?
Oh, my God, no.
So what would happen in your special day today?
So I ran 4 events. Oh, I can hear my voice talking.
It's weird, isn't it?
Yeah.
So you run high school track for what school?
She's a superstar.
Oh, my God. Whatever he's told you, don't believe it. So I'm a junior at Bethel Tate, which is middle of nowhere, pretty much.
East side of Cincinnati, for those who don't know.
and I ran the 100 and the 200, the 4x1 and the 4x4, which is pretty hefty lineup, honestly. I was so tired afterwards, but I won the 2, I won the 100, and our 4x1 team won, and then our 4x4 team got second, which is really impressive because there was only like one other person in our heat. So we had to run for time because all the fast chicks were in the other heat. So actually, no, shout out to everyone that was in the first heat because you guys did great. But so we got second, and that was really awesome. So,
Okay.
yeah.
And you're working on a school record, I hear. So you just about come close in your first meet, right?
Yeah. So the first meet was really cold, and the school record in the 100 is 12:3, which is really fast. But I ran a 12:5. That was my PR sophomore year. I ran that at regionals, I think. And then this year, I've only come close. I ran like a 12:6. So we still have a few more.
12:6 meaning 12 seconds?
Yeah, 12.6.
It takes me that long to get out of the recliner.
Dude.
No, more like 12 minutes.
Oh my goodness, dude. Dad takes forever to get off the couch. Let me just say that.
I'm just glad that you got so much athletic ability from your mother.
I definitely didn't get any from the camera nerds. So. I'm kidding.
But this is a pretty big day. So when you set the school record, you're on the cusp of it as a junior.
Yes.
So
Yeah.
I know that if you have half of the work ethic of your father, that you're gonna do.
Oh, yeah.
And this is going to happen at
It's
some
happening.
point.
Yeah. I got the hybrid work ethic of like both parents. So
Okay.
it's definitely happening.
So,
and the record's like 30 years
we
old.
expect to have an official announcement and press release on this podcast when you are now the school record holder.
Gonna have a big banner.
Yeah, well, your dad can make a big infographic and we'll put it up in front.
That would be great. Thank you.
And when you get a scholarship to the University of
I knew
Illinois
that was-
to
I
run
knew
track.
that.
Yeah, absolutely.
He wants me to get a scholarship and run in college, but
That's because he's cheap.
maybe a little bit.
I'm not sure who I'm embarrassing more, you or your father, through this.
Oh, I thought that was
I've never seen his
hilarious,
face this red. All right.
No.
That's fun. We should do that
Yeah.
more often.
Awesome.
You got any boyfriends?
Oh my God, no, I don't.
Okay. All right.
Yeah.
It's almost prom season. Make good decisions, okay?
Okay, yeah.
right.
Anyone watching? I need a date to prom. I'm kidding.
It's like I used to tell when I was coaching softball, until they can afford to pay your car payment, they're not worth anything.
Oh my goodness. Sure,
So
I'll keep that in mind.
Just remember that one, all right?
Yeah, I will. All right. Well, thank you for calling me over. Yeah, got some publicity now.
Yeah,
so.
thank you for taking
Your
part.
Instagram will increase by 30% after
Yeah,
this.
Hayden Shields
You
_4.
need- What is it? Yeah, tell them what. If you say it on this, say it slower so everybody. Because
I'm not really sure.
what is it now?
Hayden Shields, IE, not EI.
How do you spell that?
SHIELDS.
Okay.
And Hayden with a Y _4. So you'll see me.
This is turning into
Just
a
look for
dating
this face.
site, Terry. I didn't realize this was a dating podcast.
Chasing Tinder.
Okay. Chasing a date with Hayden.
Chasing a date with Hayden. We got a whole new reality show
Oh my
coming to
goodness.
the
Okay, yeah.
to the Outdoor Network. All right.
Thank you guys.
You're welcome.
Thank you. You know what was so great about that, and earlier in the podcast, we're about more than just deer hunting. We're about family priorities and things like that. And to see this family here tonight, and I know Steve's really proud of his daughter and actually his entire family, and to see that's just so awesome. And I know that he's cheering her on everything she does.
Well, his son's not here, and I know he's just as
Yeah.
proud of his son.
Right.
And matter of fact, his son is actually doing video work, editing, and helping us out too as we continue to grow. And I know how proud he is of him. It was a big day for all of our families. I got to be a proud dad for a minute.
Yep.
My daughter got crazy big news today. I guess it's okay for me to say this. If not, oh well. But for the people that are in the state of Kentucky, she was recognized as Governor's Scholar today. So that is a very special program for academic standards. So she will go off this summer between her junior and senior year and do a summer study at one of 3 state universities. So very few kids get the chance to do this. So, yeah, it's a big day for families. I think she even got recognized as all district softball, but she didn't even care about that. She got governor's scholar, so that's what she was more excited about. But big day.
Yeah, it's kind of amazing how this podcast started out chasing big deer, but we've preached ethics and we've preached priorities, tried to help people get their priorities in order, and I think it's really helped me get mine in better order as well. That turkey I shot today was great, but it doesn't mean near as much to me as the day I got to spend with good friends.
Well, the other thing that I've taken pride in this, and this might kind of set us up as something to close the show on today, is this platform has connected a lot of people and a lot of businesses. I look back at Austin, and what started as a consulting client of yours turned into a friendship, and them being on the board of Lester's Feet, and I know the work that they put in their hearts about helping. I know Ann has got another case that she's sent to the board last night for another breast cancer affected family. I know their heart, but it's kind of connecting a lot of dots for people like Austin, for people like Brandon with Homegrown Outdoors, where he goes in and installs food plots for people. I think of Steven the mailman, or even Osseo, or even the sponsors. People get to know who Chris Yates is that aren't living in Kansas City. And if I can be proud of anything that we've done with this podcast, it isn't teaching people how to deer hunt. It's connecting good Christian people together, and kind of showcasing their businesses a little bit, or their and that's pretty cool when you think about it.
Yeah, I've said many times, if you want to be blessed, be a blessing. And, I think one of the reasons this podcast has been blessed is because of the blessing that we've tried to be to others. And it didn't start out that way by any means, but I'm pretty proud of how it's ended up.
Yep. So with that, I think to end the show, I'm going to ask my friend Todd Covey to come up here, and He's not going to want to, but he's going to have to. Todd also, I've known Todd for years. He and I served on the Little League board, just like everybody else has, man. I've known Todd for years, but Todd bought a new hunting property and had you come out and do a consultation service on it. Probably one of the most giving and honest people I could ever meet. I'm proud to call him a friend. What this guy has done behind the scenes for Lester's Feet is extremely appreciated, even though he won't step up and even admit to it. I know what he's done. But as he's gotten into chasing mature whitetail, he's a hustler. So every time I talk to him, he's got another business popping up or doing something. He has now started a business here local to me, and bought a building and has a full real-world dealership now, and you're selling other stuff too. So why don't you talk a little bit about your business, and for those in northern and central Kentucky, let them know who you are and what you got.
Yeah, well, I've been very fortunate. I've never heard my voice through these, so that's odd. Sorry I sound like that. But just been very fortunate with everything. Like Don says, I'm very blessed. I've used real-world stuff as long as I've known you. I mean, long time, and decided to start selling it out of our building in Walton, and got a dealership of 360 hunting blinds. I don't know if I had told you that, Don, but just got my first load of blinds and
awesome.
Sold one of those already. So we've just, we've got a good location for it, and wanted to see if we could make $1 and help Real World grow and help 360 grow. And I think the same way you guys do, just about being affiliated with good people. Mm-hmm. If we make a little bit of money as we go, that's okay. But the affiliations of just good people has been really enjoyable.
So not only do you have a Real World dealership, but you sell 360 hunting blinds. I think you're going to start looking at other stuff too. But you also have a tent business that goes out of that location also, right?
Yeah, we bought Bingham's tent rental last year. So we rent tents and tables and chairs and all that good stuff. And that's going well.
Yeah.
Really growing.
So Todd's one of those guys that I met through my consulting business. I consulted on a farm for you 3 years ago, was it?
I think it was 3 years ago, yeah.
And we've become friends. just like Austin, the friendship that started with a consulting visit. But you know what I appreciate about Todd is that, my daughter's been fighting cancer here for not quite a year yet, but Todd checks in with me very frequently to see how she's doing, lets me know that he's praying for her all the time. And at the same time, he's been going through the same thing with his girlfriend, and he went through it with his father, who unfortunately passed not too long ago. And when somebody is going through something like that, and yet they still have the heart to reach out to others, that means a lot to me. So I appreciate that about you, Todd, more than anything, more than your real-world dealership. Just the fact that your heart really shined through when I needed it the most.
Appreciate that.
So I mentioned on the podcast several months ago that when we were putting the Cornerstone dealership in Frankfort, since there was not a dealership down there, that what I thought I was going to do is actually make that store a dealership, so that way people in central Kentucky could do it. But since I'm driving down there so much, I think what Todd and I are going to try to do is you buy it from Todd, and if you need to pick it up in central Kentucky, I can have it taken down for pickup at Cornerstone Equipment in Frankfort. It keeps me from having to stock the stuff and take up shelf space at our dealership, helps him get established and get to know more people, but then saves everybody some logistics and drive time. For anybody in the central Kentucky area, reach out to Todd Covey. Todd, put you on the spot here to see if you know your own number and all your information. Why don't you plug that here real quick?
Yeah, it's Earned Outdoors. Number's 859-393-3028. I'm one of the people that always answer, so chances are you're not going to get voicemail.
Yep.
But be glad to help you.
So anybody in the northern Kentucky, central Kentucky area, get with Todd, and if we need help with logistics, I can get it to Frankfort to you for pickup. So I think hopefully that'll be a win-win for the customer, for me, and for you.
Definitely.
All right, man. We'll appreciate you.
All right,
Thanks
buddy.
for coming
Thank
by.
you, guys.
Thank you, Todd.
Well, this has been a really weird episode, but you shot a turkey today, so that's weird, and we might as well have rode it all the way out.
Well, I never thought that I never had any plans to shoot a turkey. I would not have went turkey hunting if it wasn't for the good friends that I was with. It was more about spending time with them. Will I go turkey hunting again? Sure. I'm going to go turkey hunting again. I'm not going to chase them like some people do. It'll be big whitetails just like it's always been. But as I get older, I'm starting to branch out a little bit. I even want to do some trapping this fall. Hoping to get a bobcat tag so I can trap a bobcat. And there's some other things that I want to do in the outdoors I've kind of put off. And, I think the reason for it is I was proud of the fact that I could tell people that I only deer hunt. And I've never been turkey hunting in my life. How many times you heard me say that? Never been turkey hunting in my life.
Never been fishing since the girls were born.
Yep. I almost wore it like a badge of honor that I'd never been turkey hunting. And, in the last year or so, I've just recognize that, does that really matter that I've never been turkey hunting before? What am I missing by not going? I'm missing a chance to enjoy the outdoors for one thing, but to spend that time outdoors with friends. When you go deer hunting, you got to be quiet, and you can't sit in your stand and talk. But the turkey hunting's a little bit different. And there's other things I'd like to do as I get closer to retirement. I am going to slow down one of these days.
Yeah, you've said that quite a bit.
So I wouldn't mind doing some fishing that I haven't fished in decades. But I think that's the thing that's really struck home with me in the last year or two is that I don't need to worry about what anybody else thinks about what I'm doing. It's just I need to go out and be myself and enjoy those relationships while I still can. I look around this room, and there's so many friends here in this room that I wish I could spend more time with. So I'm telling you guys, I am going to slow down next winter. Everybody is either shaking their head no or cheering it on. So they're going to have to hold me to it probably when the phone rings and somebody wants me to go consulting. But
I just told somebody in this room that after this weekend I was free every weekend the rest of the summer, and they just looked at me and laughed. So I think we have some self-reflection that we have to do.
Well, if I put it out there on the podcast, that kind of holds my feet to the fire.
Well, I don't care for turkey hunting, but I love watching other people enjoy it and being part of it. And, it's fun setting up there in the blind with the other camera and watching the whole field and glassing it and putting you guys in a situation. But I think that this might end up just having to be a spring tradition for all of us every year to get together. And hopefully Brandon Epperson, Homegrown Outdoors, will always be willing to maybe host us for a fish fry or
that'd be awesome.
A podcast. We appreciate. So we ate fish from Austin and I's trip to the Gulf. We had red and vermilion snapper tonight, and it was absolutely phenomenal. So
awesome.
All right, everybody. Well, we appreciate the support, and we'll be back to a normal show next week. So are you hooked on turkey hunting, though? Is it just as good as shooting a big buck?
Oh, there's no comparison. No comparison.
You were in the truck sleeping within 20 minutes of shooting that bird.
Yeah, that's true. I will turkey hunt again, but I'm not hooked on it like a lot of people. And nothing wrong with that. Nothing wrong with people that are hooked on it.
Yeah, it's a fun experience and a fun time of the year to be outside. That's for sure.
Absolutely.
All right, everybody. Thanks for the support. We appreciate it.
God bless everybody. Have a great week.